What's up, Internet? My name's Ori. It is Sunday, July 27th, day number Brian Dawkins, aka 20, inside the Big Brother house. Who won veto? How will it affect noms? Plus, are the lines about to be fully drawn as everyone has beef with everyone? We might be in a full split house situation. Let's talk about that, plus all the intel drama and more from yesterday's live feeds. But first, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit that like button, hit the notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. Speaking of, there is an episode tonight. It is the HOH and the nomination episode. So if you guys want to do a watch party, we've been doing these little challenges. I originally only had plans to do the watch parties for the live evictions. If you guys want a watch party for tonight, let's have a goal. 1,500 likes. You guys been crushing the 1,000 likes. We're going to bump it up this time. 1,500 likes. We'll have a watch party tonight on the channel. A little bit of a recap for you, though. If you haven't been keeping up with everything that's been happening, we'll see a lot of this take place on the episode tonight. But after Amy was evicted unanimously, we had Lauren, who won the HOH. She then goes and nominates Keanu, Kelly, and Will. Also, keep in mind there are some powers still in play. Mickey decided not to use her HOH takeover this week, and Zach still has his 10K bribe, which I do not expect to have to be used this week either. So first thing before we get into the actual update from today, yesterday something happened that I actually didn't see until after yesterday's update. But during the HOH competition, apparently Rachel got in a little bit of trouble for potentially cheating in the comp. There was the video that was playing, and at some point, Rachel, I guess, was taking notes, or at least she was preparing to take notes for the video. She was stopped. She had that taken away from her. And I'm going to assume she was using that board they kind of use for the tiebreaker scenarios. And if that's the case, and they didn't say anything in the rules, and they do go very clearly over the rules before a competition. They make sure that you fully understand what is supposed to happen. They give you time to ask questions and all that stuff. If they didn't actually say you can't write anything down, then I can't really blame her for trying. Look, I can't. But if there was like some like mystery pen and paper that she brought into the game, okay, that's a little something else. But that might be a little bit of a controversial take. There might be people that are saying, no, she cheated. And listen, I'm usually with you. There was a situation on one of the last seasons of Big Brother Canada where a house guest actually had a physical letter get brought into the house that was written post premiere, right? So this was like a couple days into the game. The premiere episode had already taken place, but we talked about how sometimes the house guests have clothes that are either sent in or clothes that production held on to them. Apparently, in this bag of clothes that the house guest got, there was a letter. And I was very adamant that this is very much cheating. Even if the letter doesn't include any actual game information, just having that emotional advantage of having that letter is huge when you didn't win HOH. And that is one of the big reasons why getting the letter, getting the pictures from home is such a big part of like, hey, it's like, oh, I just want to see this. I want to see that. Because that can be such a boost to you in this game. And it was a big thing where he cheated and then didn't really get punished for it. On top of that, the people all then got rewarded by also getting letters. It was a whole thing, and I was very against it. So you would assume with the Rachel situation, I might also be very against it. But again, if she was just using the items they were given, I call that gamesmanship, right? Like a little bit of the Eddie Guerrero thing. Like you lie, you cheat, you steal, you try and win. As long as everyone could have that chance as well, right? If they never actually said it and everybody has the boards in front of them and nobody ever said don't take notes, and you go and take a couple little notes, little scribbles, that's gamesmanship to me, right? That's you using the tools they provided. Now, if it was clearly stated, then yeah, she's cheating, right? And she was caught cheating, and that's a problem. She didn't win anyway, so it's a thing. But maybe we'll see some of that on tonight's episode. I kind of doubt it. We'll see that happen in tonight's episode, but that is something to keep in mind as we watch. Let's move on though to yesterday and everything that went down, because we did have the veto competition take place. So we know a lot about how things are going to be going this week as far as the renoms and then even potentially where votes could go. So let's start off with, even before that, we had a little conversation with Morgan and Rachel, and Morgan starts talking about the whole Zach situation and how it's silly that she has this crush on Zach, but he is someone that she would actually go for, like outside of this house. And she says, him and Lauren are great and she's happy for them, right? It's all fine. And Rachel's like, yeah, we're happy for them. But like, does she even like him? We don't know. Maybe she doesn't like him. Like, she's still trying to make a little matchmaker situation here. But Morgan replies, but I know he doesn't like me, and that's all that matters, which is almost sad. Like, you almost feel bad for Morgan, but she does have this crush, and it does really cloud her judgment. We'll get to why I think there might be more reasons why Morgan's mind might be a little bit clouded in her judgment here, because I don't think it's just the crush anymore. I really don't. I also didn't mention this on yesterday's update, but the night before, Vince was actually trying to make a little bit of a matchmaker situation, right? He was kind of teasing Lauren a little bit, saying he's always going to be the third wheel. But Lauren's like, oh, no, you won't. And, he kind of even asked, he's like, oh, what do you think? He really likes you. And Lauren, she said she's indifferent. So that was her answer to it. But we'll also get to some more Lauren Zach information a little bit later in the update. Ashley and Vince were picked to play in the veto competition along with Lauren, Keanu, Kelly, and Will. And Keanu ended up having a chat with Rachel, and she said, listen, like, I think you've been a little bit fake to me, Keanu. I don't think you've been really honest. And he's like, yeah, you know what? I think I probably do owe you a little bit of an apology. And she says she's still hearing that he's coming after her, which he denied. And he said, like, who said that? She wouldn't say, 'cause she's like, I don't trust you anymore. And he's like, is it Mickey and Morgan? And she's like, no. She also mentions, though, that she had heard he thinks he's the best Big Brother player to ever play this game. And she said, the whole house is against you. At this point, it would be 13-0. You'd be going home. Everyone was saying your name in the pre-noms. And, he kind of said, he's like, yeah, I know that. And she really pushes, other things that are going on, right? She says, Vince is really running things, and like he's a big thing in this game. And Keanu's not really buying it, right? Like, he's like, unless you're telling me Vinny is some huge mastermind. And Rich, he is. And he's running everything. He ran all of Lauren's HOH. And Keanu just didn't seem like he was buying it at the time. He ends up leaving, and as he leaves, Rachel says to the camera, she's like, I don't know what to do anymore. Like, I can't trust Keanu. I can't trust anyone. So here we are. Like, what are we supposed to do? I got to get Vinny out. He's driving me crazy. I don't trust Keanu. So let's not get that backwards. She felt the need to kind of like reiterate, like, listen, I don't trust Keanu. And she said, it's just really hard because Vinny's got to go. He thinks he's running the house. Get him the F out of here. I'm the legend. I'm a Big Brother winner. Nobody runs this but me, and I'm not doing a good job about it. This is all while she's like getting her cardio in during the day. And she's like, I gotta get my stuff together and really, really turn this around. Keanu then actually went to check in with Vince. And I think this was actually just kind of like to bow to the king, right? I feel like Keanu just got this information that Vince is running everything. So he kind of goes and he's like, yeah, man, just want to let you know how much I trust you. And like, I want to work with, you and Riley and the Unexpendables. And, I just want you to know I would never, put you up or go against you. And I just want you to know that. And Vince is like, yeah, bud. Like, I know. Like, what? He was like, where is this coming from? And Keanu eventually even, he doesn't mention the convo with Rachel, but he does say, like, people always tell you, like, this and that. Like, one thing they're saying is Vince is creating the majority alliance. And Vince is like, I am? Wait, what? And Keanu's like, shh, like, yo, like, don't listen. It was Kelly. Kelly told me. And Vince is like, Kelly's doing too much, man. Like, she's doing way too much. Keanu says she doesn't know how to play. She's just really good at puzzles. Like, that's all she's got going for her. And Vince actually even says, like, if you want, you know, if you want to talk about sloppy games, it's Kelly. Like, she's got the sloppiest game of everybody in there. And Keanu said he actually thought, you know, it was Mickey and Morgan who were the ones spreading all the information about him and building the drive between him and Jimmy. But he's like, now maybe it's Kelly. It also it was. She's admitted to it, but like, not the Keanu. The whole thing. But he still thinks that Morgan and Mickey are huge targets and they need to weaken their forces, as he said. I'm also not sure here if Keanu picked up on a vibe or something, but right after this conversation, he goes and talks to Rachel. Like, in fact, like, Vince was still in the storage room. Like, he's talking to the cameras. So I actually like had to like switch back and forth and like do like the split audio to even like hear this. He goes and talks to Rachel and he's like, yeah, I'm on an island. this is like grade A Rachel trolling. He's like, I'm on an island. And Rachel goes, you know, some of the best Big Brother players have been there. So, like I said, meanwhile, while that was happening, Vince is in the other room. He's actually doing a little like camera talk, because one of the things is he has deals with like everyone in the house. He told Keanu to use the veto on him. He told all the nominees that he would use the veto on him. And here's the thing. He's aware. Like, he even said, like, on the camera, he's like, I know, I just don't have a choice right now. Like, it's just what I have to do. Also, in another funny little thing, he's like, I gotta be more careful, because I think that best Big Brother comment, I think that best Big Brother player comment, that was for me. So it's just a whole comedy of errors. Eventually, though, Vince and Lauren, they meet up to chat, just, you know, pre-veto about what's going on. And they both do not want Ashley to win, because she could then potentially take Will off, and then she is not an option to go up in Will's place. So they are not happy about that. And apparently, Will was the one to pick Ashley for the competition. I don't know if Vince was just pulled or if he was a house guest choice. It would make a lot of sense if Lauren actually pulled it and asked Vince to play. But yeah, that is the situation. Meanwhile, while that was happening, Ashley actually told Will, yeah, if I win, I'm going to use it on you. So that's a thing. But that takes us to the veto competition. Feeds were down for a long time. It was a very long comp. But when they came back, we learned that it was with a roll of a nat 20 for a critical success. The Dungeon Master, Keanu, wins the power of veto. He has now the ability to take himself off the block, saving him this week. Not just that, he also won a little bit of a prize. He gets to go to a movie screening of The Bad Guys 2. No clue what kind of movie that is. Apparently, though, the competition was one of those like heist type of a things where you know, had like the lasers, you had to kind of crawl through them and get through, and it was all timed runs like that. Lauren apparently was only 25 seconds in second place. So really close there for Lauren to be trying to get the win. But it was Keanu who picked that up. Like I said, he also gets the screening of the movie, and he picked Rachel, Jimmy, and Ava to join him. And, you know, doesn't that sound fun and great, sharing his prize like that with Ava? Ava's less than enthused. She ends up telling Will, she's like, I have to be locked in there with the crazies. So Ava, she was like, oh, I gotta go. Oh, she's not having it's more of a punishment for Ava than it is a prize. After the competition, Vince, again, is one of the first ones to get in there with Lauren. So maybe Rachel really isn't too off with the whole Vince running thing. And he's really not doing a great job of, you know, not making it seem like he's running everything when he's the first one that Lauren talks to. So he goes and he has a chat with Lauren. He's like, what are you thinking? And she's like, you know, I have something in mind, but it's going to be really, really bad. Like, I'm not liking this. Of course, she's referring to Ashley being the renom. Again, something that she struggled with, and one of the reasons that she didn't put Ashley up originally is she was afraid of the blowback of putting Ashley up there in the first place. Kelly goes, and actually she has a convo with Lauren about the renoms and everything. And she, she actually did I think a really good job here with Lauren, because Lauren even actually mentions it, later on. But the whole idea is like, look, I volunteered to go up, right? Like, if you then can do anything for me, do not put Adrian up on the block. And she was basically begging him to do that. She also said, like, just in general, Lauren was responding to this. She's like, the big thing is Ashley's the other one, and I'm just so scared of that crash out. Like, it's going to be bad if she doesn't end up going home. And I'm done for. So that's still the big thing that's holding Lauren back here. But again, Kelly now pushing that, like, hey, I did you this solid, you should really do me a solid, is now putting in the head too with Lauren. Not only is she going to have issues with Ashley, she potentially would have issues with Adrian and Kelly if Adrian was the one to go up on the block. Once again, Lauren was struggling with this decision. She was coping with it the best she could, with just this weight that was all upon her to make this decision. So you know what? She decides she's taking the night off. Why not? She deserves it. Oh, honey, it's week 3. It's week 3, and it's only going to get harder and harder from here. If you can't handle this pressure of having to put up people for the block, it only gets worse. So she really needs to step it up if she's going to be able to last, not even just in the game, but just mentally be able to make it through if she can't even handle this week. Lots of people were dogging her for it, especially Ashley and Rachel, for like being like, not meeting. She did say she wants to meet with everyone though today. Morgan and Zach ended up having a conversation. She, of course, wants Adrian to be the renom instead of Ashley. But again, Zach doesn't want her to know that he'd rather keep Adrian. But luckily with this convo, Zach didn't have to do too much to navigate his way on through, because Morgan was just kind of dominating the conversation. So he didn't have to push back on it too much. But he's definitely trying to keep that quiet. Meanwhile, Vinny and Morgan also then met up, and she said, like, listen, like, we got to always share information. And Vince agreed that we always got to share that info with each other. Morgan said she actually wants to talk to Keanu because she's heard about everything that's been going on. And Vince says, yeah, like, he's blaming you for starting the whole Richie Jimmy thing. He thinks it was you and Rachel Jimmy stuff. And she thinks that, like, it was you and Mickey who were doing this. Morgan actually thinks, Jimmy was the one who actually threw them under the bus for all that. So Morgan's blaming Jimmy for that even getting back to Keanu. Vince tells Morgan, listen, I probably wouldn't even talk to Keanu. Honestly, like, he's just so gullible, and anything you say, it's just going to get twisted. And Jimmy's just such a good liar. Like, you just shouldn't even bother going and trying to have that conversation. And Morgan says, she's like, I was trying, right? Like, I really was wanting to look out for him even. And says, like, it's a shame, right, that we can't work. And it's just like, I don't understand how Morgan buys into this so hard. And one of the other things is she walks away from this actually believing that Vince would push for Zach to go up as a nominee. She's telling the other girls, like, yeah, Vince is going to push for Adrian. And this is where I think I've just realized Morgan is blinded by Zach and Vince. It's not even just the crush for Zach. She fully is just very gullible, as Vince described Keanu. And it's crazy to me. When someone in this game tells you, oh yeah, you probably shouldn't even go talk to that person, that's not them looking out for you. That's them trying to cover their tracks so that you don't go talk to them and compare notes. And Morgan does not see this. For some reason, she's able to believe that Vince would push for Adrian to go up when he's clearly not. So Morgan just has a very bad read on Vince and Zach. And that is going to be a big downfall, I think, for her in this game. Once we get to the allegiance chart, which I think might be my best allegiance chart of the season, I have some updates on there. So you're definitely going to want to check that out here in a little bit. Will, Ashley, and Mickey, and also Morgan, even Rachel actually ended up joining this conversation towards the end. They were all talking about, Will saying, I'm going to keep hitting the block over and over. Like, now that I'm the easy nom and I've been up there, they're just going to keep putting me up there on the block. The other ladies, they just didn't seem to really buy it too much. They're like, no, that's not going to happen. You don't have to worry like that. And he actually starts getting a little bit like heated. Like, he's like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm the one up on the block right now. You guys are all worried about yourselves and how this is going to go and that's going to go. I'm worried about right now in the moment, right? Like, I am going to be put up on the block over and over. There's stuff going on. He even says, if there's only 2 options to go up on the block this week, it's between Ashley and Adrian. Why is that? Don't you think that means there's a lot more going on the other side of the house than we really think? Again, they're just kind of like, maybe, I don't know. And they kind of end up scattering there a little bit with Mickey and Morgan. They kind of bounced all off. But Rachel says, like, listen, I hear you. And it's Vince. It's Vince. He's doing it. He's the mastermind. Ashley actually also thinks that Ava is playing both sides of stuff, right? That's why she is not in any consideration for a potential nom either. Another kind of interesting thing here is Riley said he overheard Rachel and Morgan talking. I didn't get a lot of details on like what he actually heard. I don't even think he got a lot of details. Like, and I don't even know exactly what he heard, but he's telling Lauren this. And he was saying like, yeah, I think, the group is Rachel, Morgan, Mickey, Ashley. And he's like, and Lauren's like, Jimmy? And he's like, no, Kelly. I think it's Kelly. But he also says his big thing is if he were to win HOH, it would be Morgan, Mickey, and Ashley that he would put up on the block. Now, if Ashley is going to be the nom this week and then she's not here, who that third one would be, I think maybe it might end up being like a Rachel or something like that, potentially even a Jimmy. But those would be probably where he would look at those noms. So Riley also, speaking of Riley, he's actually apparently really good at pool. In fact, I heard Zach say that him and Vince both tried to beat Riley together. They cheated and they still lost. That's how good of a pool player that Riley is. So, when Riley tells Catherine while they're both playing pool, like, hey, you got a really nice shot. A really nice shot. He was flirting hard on this. Really nice shot. It was a terrible shot, by the way. And when Riley, this pool shark, when Riley says, Daddy will teach you pool. Daddy will teach you pool. You would think maybe the response should be that of joy. He's a pool shark, right? Well, he might know what he's talking about, but Catherine, all she had was ew. That was all she had for that one. So I had to fill you guys in on that. But speaking of the pool table, Lauren and Zach, they had a little bit better time at the pool table. Luckily, Zach did not say anything about Daddy and teaching her how to do anything. And then it all seemed to go really well. It all seemed to really go well for this time because he didn't mention any of that. But they did talk noms and, really Zach was pushing for the whole idea that Ashley should be going up. But, she doesn't want to put Adrian up because, again, that conversation with Kelly, she knows if she puts him up, she loses both Adrian and Kelly. But she's still kind of 50-50 even on Ashley because she's afraid of that blowback. Zach says, listen, honestly, Ashley's a liability. And Lauren said, well, here's the thing. What does Morgan feel like, right? Because that's another side of the house. You're kind of close with her a little bit. What is she going to think? And he's like, listen, I told you, like, I think she is 100% with Mickey, Will, Ashley, maybe even Rachel and Jimmy. And she's not going to be happy if Ashley goes up. She doesn't want that. And that side of the house, Lauren, actually, They think you're emotional, and the reason why you put Will up over Adrian is because he was talking to you for hours in the night. So they think that was an emotional decision and you pulled on your heartstrings, and that's why Will ended up going up. Lauren still fears, that they're all going to be coming after him. And eventually, Zach even says, like, look, Lauren, you're probably in the pool of noms, whether you put her up either way, right? If they're going to win, there's a good chance you would go up. And Zach even tells her, like, look, their side, right, against our side. And he then starts kind of listing, like, hey, we got shields on our end, right? We've got Keanu, Kelly, Adrian, Riley, Catherine would all be people that would be targeted before Lauren, Zach, and Vince. So we really do kind of have two sides here going on. And then Lauren says, like, well, what would you do if you won HOH next week? And he says, listen, you know what? I think it would be really something like Mickey, Ashley, maybe a pawn like Rachel would be the renom, and then maybe it's just Rachel goes up right away. Again, if Ashley's somebody that is evicted this week, who that potential third would be, you would think maybe Morgan would make sense, but would Zach put Morgan up right away? I don't think so. But if we go over to our allegiance chart here, which again, I think might even actually be the best one I've done this season. I feel like this is really a good representation of where the house is, where different loyalties lie, but also what their social credit is in the game at the moment. So let's start at that tippy top right up there. You have Zach. Zach, I think, has the best spot in this game right now, because again, even though he's really running almost the other side of the house, this new 8, as they were kind of saying that if he decided that he would run with them, he would go after the other side of the house. Even though he's kind of running that top end there, the other side wouldn't necessarily put him up. They're all looking at Vince, especially Rachel's looking at Vince. Pretty much even Mickey is looking more at Vince than she is looking at Zach. On top of that, he also has Morgan as someone who I think is a really close ally, completely blinded to the fact that she shouldn't trust Zach and Vince. So she does trust Zach and Vince. That's also why I have Vince just a little bit lower than Zach, because so many of that other side are starting to look at him as somebody that needs to go. The only thing is he's up there at the top because he also is kind of in charge of this other side of the house where a lot of people end up funneling to him. But like I said, even Keanu might even be catching on that, hey, maybe there's something up there a little bit with Zach, and maybe I should start looking and thinking about this a little differently. Some of the other changes I've made: Morgan I've brought down, Rachel I've brought down, Mickey I've brought up, and she is at the top of kind of that side of the house, I think, at the moment. She's got Ashley, she's got Will, she's got Ava, even Jimmy, Morgan, and Rachel would all be numbers for her. She's starting to go against Morgan and making sure that those people would be more loyal to her than they are to Morgan. The others are definitely actually probably more loyal to her than Rachel. Same thing with, Jimmy, Ava, Will, Ashley, all kind of on the lower end of that side of the house. Ava, Will, and Jimmy also scooch a little bit more over towards the middle of the house, along with Morgan, since they do have more connective tissue to the other side of the house than the others. Rachel also scooches a little bit more over, since she also does still have kind of talking relationships, even though she doesn't trust them, with people like Keanu and even Vince and others. She talks to Lauren and tries to give her advice as much as she can. She's not really working with them, but she would be working more with that side of the house. Over on the other side, up at the top there, you would have Lauren. She would have the loyalty of people like Catherine and Riley. At the moment, not too much sway over Adrian and Kelly, but obviously it's one of the big reasons she doesn't want to put Adrian up as the renom, because she doesn't want to lose both of them as a number. Plus, she's also, I think, the closest to Zach and Vince. They're the ones who I think are really trusting her the most. That's actually probably the tightest 3 that we have in the moment in the house that all still trust each other the most. So keep an eye out for that trio of Vince, Zach, and Lauren, because that one is again the one that's still going strong of the trios. A lot of the other ones have all broken up. Even people like I said, Mickey and Morgan have fallen apart, right? So the whole triple threat with Jimmy, and they hadn't trusted Jimmy for a long time either. Ava, Will, and Adrian, they were kind of a trio there for a while, but they've also kind of drifted to either side because they're not 100% trusting each other, being on the block against each other really kind of push things away. Plus, they just trust too many different people now at this time. Who else do we need to talk about? I think that's a lot of the changes. I think I moved Ava even a little bit up because though she's playing in the middle more, nobody talks about her, right? Like Jimmy would way more likely go on the block than Ava. Even Ava, I could say you could even move up towards the Morgan, Rachel, and Mickey level, even kind of where the Lauren level is. But I hesitate on that because I think there's more people that look at them as their closest ally than people look at Ava as their closest ally. Nobody's putting her up, but nobody's also saying Ava's my number one, if that makes sense. Whereas Vince, he actually would say, like, him and Lauren, they have a final two, and at least I think the Lauren, that's her number one is Vince. I think Morgan with Vince also has that similar situation. Mickey would have people that would call her their number one. Zach, Rachel probably not, but still just her presence alone, people still want to talk to her. They still want to talk game with her. They still want her in jury for some reason. And I can't rightfully put her down lower because she's also doing a good job of just kind of staying hidden and letting these bigger targets happen and also trying to build up. Even though she doesn't have the confidence in herself, I still think she's in a decent spot in this game right now. And to be honest, you don't really want to be the top person. Zach right now is that top person in the house, but all it takes is a couple of the cards to shuffle a little bit, and the entire house starts to fall. So we could see a lot of different things play out here, but that's kind of where we're looking at the moment. Now, again, with the idea that Ashley will be the renom, how will votes end up turning out? I think for the most part, if it's Kelly or Keanu, they would have Adrian, Catherine, Riley, Lauren, or not Keanu, I should say, Kelly or Will up on the block with Ashley. They would definitely have Adrian, Catherine, Riley, Lauren, Vince, Zach, and I say Lauren just because I believe this is a tiebreaker week, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, because it would be 7-7 potentially if there was a tie. Lauren would be that breaker. I also think with Will and Kelly, potentially you don't get Ava. I don't know if you get Ava for the Kelly vote against Ashley, but you would definitely get it for Will against Ashley. Jimmy also probably would maybe be more closely aligned with Ashley than Will or Kelly. So that could be maybe one you could chalk up for the Ashley side. Morgan definitely would want Ashley to stay, but over Will, no. Over Kelly, yes. Rachel would want Ashley to stay probably in all situations, but also does have good relationships with Will. So I don't know if that would be somebody that she would want to do too. But it's a thing. And then also Mickey, I think, would definitely want Ashley over Kelly, but not Ashley over Will. So there's not a lot of people that right now that are going to be in Ashley's corner. I think if Ashley is the renom and she's actually on the block for eviction night, she would also be the one to leave this week. I then also think if it's Will versus Kelly, I think Will doesn't have the votes this week. I think there's a good chance he would be the one evicted over Kelly because that side right now kind of needs her as a number, but also she would be somebody who would take those shots at Rachel, at Mickey, at Morgan for people like Zach, for people like Vince and Lauren who don't necessarily want to take those direct shots. Kelly would be somebody who would do that. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. And I really am thinking that this is when the lines are really being drawn, will be with this vote. And then whoever wins next HOH is going to have the big say on the future of the game. If it's somebody from the 8 that Vince, Zach, and Lauren can control, if they're able to win the power, they will end up going for someone like Rachel, Mickey, Morgan, potentially even Jimmy. If then the other side were able to get control and Mickey does have the HOH takeover, they could potentially sway things, take some shots out, maybe take out a Kelly, Keanu, Catherine, Riley, even an Adrian, all people that they could end up potentially going after. If Rachel wins, she's definitely going after Vince. So there's a lot that could go on next week. I think this is going to be a big shifting week in the future of the game, and I'm really excited to see how it all goes. But let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments down below. What do you think of Keanu winning the veto? What do you think of potentially Ashley going up as that replacement nominee? Should Lauren be looking elsewhere? Also, who do you think would win in a blockbuster scenario with that? Would it be Will? Would it be Ashley? Would it be Kelly? Let me know that in the comments down below. And also, who would you like to see evicted this week? What do you think of the house and how it's divided at the moment? If you are new here, hit that subscribe button. You like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. Like I said, get to 15,000 likes. We will stream that, or 50,000, 1,500. Did I say 15,000 earlier? I mean 1,500. We'll see. But thank you guys all so much for watching. If we get the 1,500 likes, we will do a watch party here on the channel tonight for the nominations and the HOH competition. But also, just thank you guys so much for all the love and support you showed me here on this channel. Check out all the links to the description down below, a pinned comment, to all my different socials. You can check out the Ori Fund. Great place to support Oris everywhere. Get me some more coffee, so I'm not saying 15,000, said 1,500. Check out, Twitter or Discord, if you want to check out all those great places where you keep track of everything going on. Plus, Discord's a great place if you want to chat about the live feeds. People are always in there chatting about what's happening in the game. Plus, there's also other great places you can chat in there. You can even post pictures of your pets. So come hang out with us over there. Thank you guys all again so much for watching, and I will see you next time.
Of course, we're not having a private.
You see what? Stop talking.
Oh my god! Yeah.
Camera got it. Ava.